Hey class, so today I'm going to go ahead and lecture over the properties of life. Since you guys are in biology, you should know what life is and what constitutes life. So our essential question today is, what characteristics do living creatures have in common? So what is biology? Well, obviously if you're taking biology, you should hopefully know what the definition is. So biology is the study of all living things. Living things are called organisms, and organisms include bacteria, protists, fungus, plants, and animals. And in this class, we will be learning about all of these organisms. Now, all living things share common characteristics. So one, all organisms that are living contain what is known as a cell. So the basic unit of life is the cell. All organisms must reproduce. They're all based on the universal genetic code, which is known as DNA, also called deoxyribonucleic acid. All living things must grow and develop. They must obtain and use materials and energy in order to survive. All organisms respond to their environment. They maintain a stable internal environment. And as a group, living things evolve. That is, that they change over time. So living creatures respond. What does that mean? All organisms must respond to some sort of internal change. That is to maintain homeostasis. So for this class, you got to know that term, homeostasis. And what homeostasis means is maintaining balanced conditions inside of the body. We also have to be able to respond to external change. So as living creatures, we are responding to internal and external changes. All right, let's take a look at these pictures here. So we see that this person here is shivering. So our body has a series of mechanisms that allow us to survive in cold temperatures. Well, obviously not forever, but when you're cold, your body does a few things. First thing it does is it causes you to shiver. What does shivering do? Shivering causes you to move, which causes you to create more energy. Your blood vessels start to constrict. And what that means is they take the blood vessels, get very small, and the blood gets taken away from your fingers, your nose, your toes, and your ears. Why is that? Well, it's a mechanism that our body does that helps us to survive. So the blood goes away from those areas and it goes and gets reverted back into our internal organs, such as our heart, our lungs, and so forth. Why? Because those are vital importance. Those need the warmth of the blood as opposed to my fingers, my nose, and my toes. That's why when you guys are cold, your fingers sometimes turn blue, okay? All right, another one is sweating. When you are too hot, your temperature then has to escape your system. To escape your system, it leaves as sweat. So when you sweat, sweating allows for your body to cool down. Okay? Those are some ways in which our body helps us to maintain homeostasis. Okay? We're going to also respond to external changes. So for example, as we see here, these zebra are going to be running away from the cheetah. If a zebra feels that it's threatened, it's going to respond to the external environment. Okay, if a zebra does not run, it will, and it has a chance of being eaten. All right, all living creatures must use energy. So metabolism is another term that you all need to know. And what metabolism means is all reactions your body performs to make and use energy. All right, so that means eating and digesting and elimination of waste. Okay, we use things in our systems. We are either building things or we are putting them, I'm sorry, we're going to go back to that. We are either putting things together or taking them apart, okay? Whenever we build something in our system, that's known as synthesizing it. When we break it apart, that's digesting it. Teenagers your age have a very high metabolic rate. What does that mean? That means that the reactions in your body are working at a much more faster and efficient rate. Why? Because you're young. The older you get, the longer it takes for the reactions in your bodies to break down. So pretty much at your age, you can eat a whole lot and your body breaks it down very quickly. As you age, it doesn't break it down as quick and people start to gain weight. What are some things that can speed up metabolism? So go ahead and I want you to think in your head, what are some things that can cause my body to digest very quickly? So what are some things that can speed up metabolism? Go on and take a thought, think. I'm hoping that you guys chose exercise. When you exercise helps to increase metabolic reactions. So as you run, your body is going to break things apart at a much quicker rate. Why is that? Because it needs to utilize the energy in order for it to continue on. And here are some pictures as we see of organisms utilizing energy. Living creatures must grow and develop. So growing and develop means that you change over an individual's lifetime. We get bigger and we mature so that we can reproduce. Okay? So as we see here, we don't always look like this. This fetus here is going to grow into an infant. Infant then is going to grow into a toddler. Toddler will then grow into a child. Child will go to adolescence, young adult, adult, and then elderly or older adult. Okay, so these humans, such as ourselves, we grow and we develop. We grow and we develop, or we change over time. Living creatures must reproduce. The objective of reproduction is so that we pass on our genetic traits or our DNA so that we make the next generation. All right, our lecture is complete. As you can see, there is a video here for you guys to watch on the characteristics of life, and I am hoping you guys learned something new today. All right, there is some level of organization when we talk about life. What we mean by organization is if we look at our systems are highly organized. Our human body is highly organized. Our environment is highly organized. All of this organization or these levels of organizations build upon each other. So let's take a look. We have atoms. We have atoms make molecules. Molecules make small organs called organelles. Organelles help to make our cells. Cells group together to make tissues. Tissue groups together to make organs. Organs group together to make organ systems. Your organ systems work together to make you, which is an organism. Organisms group together to form a population. Populations interact with other populations to form communities. Different communities around the world form ecosystems. Ecosystems are based upon the number of abiotic or living and non-living factors in an environment. And all of the ecosystems group together to form the biosphere. So why is that important? Let me give you an example. So we know that plants do the process called photosynthesis. What would happen if the chloroplast were mutated of a plant? So let's say, for example, we see this tree that these elephants and this giraffe is eating. Well, for some reason, the chloroplast got a mutation and it was not allowed to do photosynthesis, okay? And all of the trees actually had this mutation in their chloroplast. Since it occurs at the cellular level, a plant is required to do photosynthesis. Photosynthesis, in turn, basically takes in carbon dioxide and sunlight, and in return, it makes sugar. While the plant itself uses sugar to help it grow and divide, okay? And then obviously these organisms eat the leaves, which are made of the glucose or the carbohydrate products. Well, if a plant can't grow, it's going to, obviously, we said it'll affect the cell, it'll affect the tissue, it'll affect the organ. The organ in itself would be the plant, the stems, the leaves, okay? which can then affect this whole population. So as we can see, if something happened here at this cellular level, at the organelle level, then it's going to go ahead and it can then change the community and the ecosystem. It can then change the community and the ecosystem. So as we said, living creatures are highly organized. They're all made up of the same collection of chemicals. We are organized as molecules. Some of our molecules include proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and nucleic acids, which we will review and which we will go over in this course. We are made up of organelles and cells, which include plant cells and animal cells. Those then form our tissue, organs, and organ systems. So as we can see here, we have respiratory system, circulatory system, digestive systems. The organ systems form the organism. An example of an organism would be a wolf. That's one thing, one organism. Populations are made up of packs of wolves. Community is the interaction between the different populations. So who does the wolf interact with? And then here's a very cool video on how wolves change rivers. So you are going to have an assignment on this after our lecture. So you can look at this video beforehand. It might help you out. All right, this concludes our lecture. I'm hoping that you guys learned something new.